Pat yourself on the back because you are right here, right now, for a reason. Welcome to the On Purpose podcast, where together we will empower ourselves and others to live lives with more passion and purpose. How you doing this morning, Jared?
I'm good, my man. I'm good. I'm glad to be back in here with you doing this, and I feel like we're coming to some clarity in things. So I feel pretty good about life. How about you?
Yeah, feeling good, man. Feeling good. Grateful to be in here with you, get another episode in, and grateful for another day.
Episode 70?
70.
Wow. Crazy. Just, a year and a couple months into it, consistently showing up.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's made a very positive impact in my life, not only creating these episodes, but the speaking points that we get to speak on, not only with each other, but members of the community. And I don't know how my life would, I know that my life actually would be a little bit less vibrant without the On Purpose community.
Oh, man, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you believing in my idea when I talked to you, a little over a year ago now, and consistently showing up so we can pour into this. I think it's needed more now than ever. To be honest, as the noise is so loud in our world, the messages are so mixed that it's nice to know we have created a platform where we can have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean everybody has to agree with us, but we can model for people how to have civil dialogue and agree.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, how long is that train going to go out here?
Forever, man. Fort Collins train goes forever. The perpetual Fort Collins train. No, but I know exactly what you're saying, man. And that actually ties in a little bit to our last guest, Dr. Elise, and how she didn't have too many role models around her growing up in a small town, and how she sought out information through reading, through seminars and high-level people. And I think that's something beautiful today, is that as we move through these interesting times, there's so much information being thrown at us, from national news to YouTube to social media. But I think like we get the opportunity and privilege to not only share what we've learned, but also hear from our community and how they are digesting all of this just plethora of information everywhere that can be opposing and conflicting. And I think that we're all kind of moving into this era of seeking and demanding truth at a higher level, which is a beautiful thing.
I hope we are. I hope we're not going to just sit and allow everything that pops up on our computer screens to just be fact without looking. The thing I took from Elise that I think is very prevalent in today's world, she grew up poor. She, her dad was a serial entrepreneur, so he would just get something started, get bored, and they'd start over. So they're always in a cycle. But she didn't see herself as a victim. She didn't see herself as, well, I don't have this, so I can't obtain it. I forget what magazine she said she cut out the pictures of, and she looked at it and visualized herself having that kind of success. And that's just the power of believing in yourself. We are in control of ourselves. We don't have to believe just because people around us aren't doing what we dream of doesn't mean it's impossible. And that's, when I listened to that, I was like, that's great, because I think unfortunately, especially in this time, we succumb to what other people tell us we're supposed to be way too easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to feel.
Right.
Yep.
What we're supposed to look like, and she fought back and believed in herself, and now you look at her, you would never guess she was a small town farm girl from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at her clinic and the businesses and ironically it's called impact, but the impact she's having on people's lives that simply started from her believing in herself.
Yeah.
And it's contagious. And I think that's great, right? What we believe is very likely going to become true. If we believe we're a victim, if we believe we can't, if we believe we can only do these certain things, well, that's probably going to be what happens.
Amen. I
But
mean, the
look
rules.
at what we believed.
Yeah.
We had one lunch. We didn't know each other super well, but we believed we both had stories that the world could hear and benefit from, and we could use this platform to change the world for good.
Mm-hmm.
We believed.
Yep.
And
When
now
I got a plate
created.
of hoo-ha in front of me, man, I'll believe in anything.
Well, you had the membership card. I didn't know there was hoo-ha memberships.
Yeah, man. Free after 10 meals, man. I've gotten a few free meals, that's for sure. Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. It starts with believing in yourself, and whatever that you believe for yourself, you will manifest. The history continues to show that whatever you want to call it, the laws of manifestation, the laws of attraction, the laws of quantum physics, what you focus on will result in reality. And we can see it time and time again when you're worried about that thing, when you worry, what you're worrying about happens, right? When you're confident about a certain result coming through, it happens. Yeah, it doesn't happen every single time, but when you're aligned with your subconscious and your conscious, over time, you will manifest the things that you focus on.
Not only that, but then you begin to see what other people are capable of, right? When I believe in myself and I know that I can conquer dreams, well, now I'm more likely to take you to lunch and go, hey, here's what I believe. What do you believe? And listen to your dreams instead of spending time telling you what can't be done because I don't believe that I can do it, so now you can't do it, right? We create all of this, and we've talked about your circle of 5 before. It literally, life is about the people you're around and the decisions you make. If you want to see yourself as a have-not, if you want to see yourself as a victim, if you surround yourselves with people that are always talking about what they would do if only they could do it, that's your fault. Conversely, because there's right across the street, there's a dreamer. Right down the road, there's somebody that came from nothing, maybe even less than what you had, that made themselves into something. Go hang out with them.
Right.
But we don't want to, because sometimes misery loves company. And if we just sit and we talk about what could be if only if, there's no work to be done.
Yeah.
It doesn't require any effort to sit and bash everybody around you.
It's easy.
And then you wake up the next day, and you're in the same fucking spot.
Do it again.
Go on social media. We type out mean words to each other. You know what I mean? Like, we literally live in this cycle, and then we wonder, every 4 years we're going to get a new president that's going to change all of my life. No, nobody's changing your life until you change your life. Which is a good segue, I think, for today's episode.
Amen to that, brother. Episode 70. Is this the end of America? Is this the end, Jared? What do you think? With all this turmoil in our country, or at least what we're being shown, right? All this turmoil that we are being led to believe, I will say, are we living what may be known as the end of America as we know it?
Part of me hopes so, to be perfectly honest with you. I hope we are living the end of certain aspects of America. I hope we're ending the part of America where citizens just go about their daily lives and pay little attention to what the elected officials do. I hope we're being woke up to just the greed and some I would even say evilness that exists at some of the higher levels of our government, right? And I say that based on this. We have literally in 2020 gone from one chaotic thing to the next with very little conclusion to the last chaotic thing before we're to the next one.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, they just came out and said that COVID is now actually not passed by asymptomatic people. Yet when I go outside, I still see people wearing masks because they were told to wear masks.
And what does asymptomatic mean?
It means you don't show symptoms. You have it, but you don't have symptoms.
Oh, okay.
Right? That was the big fear before, right? Well, you could have it, but you don't know it, and you could still make me sick. Well, now they're saying that's not true. And I hope that we're at the end of hiding from shit, right? Racism has been an issue. We've passed it from generation to generation. I hope we're at the end of that issue. Let's fix it. We want police reform. Let's fix it. So I hope that we are at the end of the America that got us to this point. I hope we're at the end of just blindly believing what comes across our televisions as truth. I hope we're at the end of not looking for who benefits from this. Keep in mind, this whole pandemic, we're literally creating the world's first trillionaire. Bezos. Ironic, right? All his competitors had to screen employees, shut down shops, take days off, but you could order everything you want from Amazon. It'll be right to your house. Look at the neighborhoods that the only cars you see moving are Amazon trucks. Right? I hope we're woke, right? Like that was a saying the kids had, we're woke. Well, I hope you're waking up now, because if this shit doesn't catch your attention, the riots, the protests, the defunding of police, the taking away of police, corona, not corona, mass immunizations. There's no vaccine for COVID. Oh, now suddenly there is, and you have to have it by August to go back to school. But maybe you don't go back to school because we need social distance. Wait, no, we don't need social distancing. Go play at the park. No, the parks are closed. You need to be social distance, but you can't camp. I hope we're waking up to the nonsense we've been fed, and as Americans, because we literally lead the world. Right? I saw you had a post about Black Lives Matter, that movement kind of going over to Lebanon. People, we lead the world. They look to us. And if we sit in our houses like good little kids and we take a government check every 6 weeks and we just sit there and we wear a mask and we're afraid to talk to each other, the world follows us. When we say enough's enough and we're going to come together as people, the world follows us.
It's huge. It's huge, man. And I mean, let me tell you what's happening in Israel and Palestine. And I'll be honest, I haven't done extensive research, but just to even see a rally with Israeli and Palestinian flags, that blew my fucking mind, because that has been an issue since after World War II, to where the people over there are literally grown and bred to hate each other. And all the motherfuckers look the same, dude. You cannot tell an Israeli and a Palestinian apart. No. It's ridiculous. They don't even have the race thing. But there's been this violent killings. I mean, it's horrible over there in the Holy Land, in Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, Israel, Palestine. And to see that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is making an impact. And I think, even though, don't get me wrong, it can be exhausting. There's so many different sides of it, of like, well, Black Lives Matter, well, all lives matter. Well, there's so much going on, but I think as a whole, this is a beautiful thing. We're coming together. We're actually getting shit done, even though, again, it might not always be for the right causes. I had a friend the other day from Texas send me 2 petitions. One of them was more unity-based, and one of them was to defund the Austin Police Department. And I told him, hey, I signed the first one. I didn't sign the second one because I am not informed enough that I believe defunding police departments yet is a good idea. But I love that everyone's getting together and doing these petitions and that eight thing that's going around for the police. 8 things. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's so many things that are going around, but what I think is beautiful is that people are taking action and it's making an impact. So I think we're finally maybe overswayed, because we have a lot less distractions, right? We can't go outside. There's no sports. There's no NFL, NBA, NCAA. There's no concerts. There's no things that we're usually doing. So we have all this extra time in our hands. And I think we're just tired of being fed bullshit, to where, just like you said earlier, we have right now the passion and the energy to fix it. So I think it's like, let's fix some of these systemic issues that have been in our nation for so long.
But in order to fix things, first off, we have to acknowledge some fundamental ground rules, right? So you brought up the 8 things that'll fix police right away. 1, it's not going to fix police right away. And 2, not all police, not all communities are the same. Right, so it's naive to think we're going to post a little graphic on Instagram and everybody's going to share it, and that's what the cops are going to do. And it's naive to think that we're going to defund police as citizens and that's going to solve the problem. That's not going to solve the problems. What solves the problems? Unity. Right? You said it best a couple episodes ago. ago. Mother Teresa never went to anti-war because she doesn't want to put her energy against things. She went to pro-peace. While I agree with some of what you said, I will disagree in the fact that we are no more united today than we have moments of being united. Towards the end of Corona pandemic, enough of us, of all colors, genders, races, we're going, this is a pandemic, yet I don't know anybody that's sick. Like, this is weird. This doesn't make sense. And right when we start to question that, the next thing happens. George Floyd is killed. Everybody that I know of all colors said this is not right. We got to fix this. But before we even had a dialogue on how to fix it, white silence became violence. Black Lives Matter, right? We went from protesting to looting. Some media covered the protest, which most people supported. Others covered only the riots to create more fear, right? And so now we want to defund police departments. Does anybody really think you can have millions of people in Minneapolis and not have anybody that enforces rules? Are we truly at that stage that we're so enlightened, so utopia, that we don't need policemen? Maybe they believe that, but I'm hard-pressed because guess what? Last night there were shootings and killings in cities around the country. Who deals with that? So this is still pitting people against each other. Instead of saying, hey, let's solve this. Let's have legitimate conversations. And here's the trick in the whole house that nobody wants to talk about, Ali. You are not walking in, and I mean not you as you, but people. You don't walk in and demand change. If I walked into your business, Ali, and I said, I don't like how you shipped, I demand you ship differently. There's resistance. It's your business. I don't know why you ship the way you do. So why do we have this fallacy that we're going to send out social media memes and change what everybody does? No, we need to be realistic. Let's start with a conversation to learn why people think the way they do. To understand how did we get here? And more importantly, where is the common ground for solutions? Right? Police are not the enemy. Was that guy in Minneapolis wrong? Absolutely. Let him suffer the consequences. But there's hundreds of thousands of other police officers that are doing exactly what we pay them to do every day. But we want to defund them. We want to take, right? That's not the solution. The solution to fixing a wrong is never to accuse more wrongs.
Right.
Right? And I think that's where we're still in the cycle. And I got to ask you, man, when we come together as people, who benefits, who gets scared, and then on the flip side, when we're divided, when we don't know what the hell we want, when we're acting out of emotion and rash judgment, who benefits from that? Usually, that is not your local community.
No.
You know what I mean? You want to go to, if Minneapolis gets rid of their police department, I forget how many millions of people live there. Do you want to go visit it?
No.
Way. Let's be honest. Do you want to go there? Why isn't Detroit a huge tourist town? Violent crime. New Orleans, murder rate is equivalent to a lot of third world dangerous cities that are on our watch travel list. We want to get rid of the cops? Right? Like, that's not the solution. The solution is still in one word, and that's community. Of all people, of all races, of all professions, because you need some law enforcement, just like you need a fire department. You need people to pave the roads. You need somebody to pick up the garbage. You need people to run small businesses. You need people to run your wall. Right? You need all of it. We are together. So let's quit splitting hairs on why we're so different and come together. You know, I was telling you before, I went camping this week in my first camping trip in the Airstream. Out in the middle of the mountains, we had African-American families, Hispanic families, white families, men, women, kids, dogs, plenty of alcohol people were consuming, guns, four-wheelers, motorcycles. You had it all. And not one issue. Not one issue. Matter of fact, there was a Hispanic family that had a souped-up little four-wheeler thing with like a disco ball and loud blaring music that were racing up and down the road. And it would have been easy to look at them and be like, oh, man, you're disturbing my peace. Like, I'm out here for nature, and you got this music on. And at 3 a.m, they're out cruising the back roads looking for lost drunk people as the Ubers of the campground. Right? So not only do we have people of all races, ethnicities, socioeconomic status, there were no problems. As a matter of fact, they actually looked out for each other. But you know what we didn't have up there? Internet. No cell phone coverage. So we didn't know we should still be hating each other. We didn't know that we should be marching against each other, and that if my whiteness is violence and you know, right? What? No, why? Because we were people. At the core of it, we're all people. And I'm going to just throw this out. As Americans, we are some of the luckiest people on earth.
Amen.
Because we can change our lives any day we choose to wake up. You want to be different today? Be different. You want to sell bee nails and go follow me around in your RV? Let's do it. But let's quit sitting back and let everybody tell us we're victims of all this. We're victims of that. We're the bad guys. We're not the bad guys. And there's so many conspiracies out there. There's so many different theories. But the reality is, as Americans, our strength comes from the people. And over time, the government has started to think they are the people. And when we say enough's enough, your policies, your rules, your laws no longer serve us, and we stand up at the local community, not sitting around waiting every 4 years for a president, we can make substantial change. You want different policing in your community, get involved with your police department.
Right.
You want different business ethics in your local community, join the Chamber of Commerce. You want the damn roads to be paved better in your local community, go talk to the road paving department. But quit sitting around on your ass, putting out mean shit on social media, blaming, because you're not helping.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right in the fact that this is the end of America as we know it, and I hope so too, that we're realizing we do have the power. Never in my life has a president really affected my day-to-day. Never in my life has some of these petitions or memes or anything that people are putting out has affected my day-to-day. And it's always magnified. It's always magnified. It's never my experience or the people that I know experience. You know,
Right.
I grew up in Texas. Yes, I have seen some racism. Yes, I've been a victim. I'm using quotes, right? A victim of racism. I've been called some racial slurs, whatever. After 9/11, because of my last name, I've been patted down. But I don't choose to accept that as my world because it's not. It's not. And the media magnifies all of the negative to where it seems like it's all around us and going on in the world. But the reality is that it's rare. I don't know someone that's openly racist. You know, I'll admit there are some bias and stereotypes, and I think that that's something that we need to look at and continue to have this conversation, right? I think this is a good thing, that the collective is experiencing adversity and things that are uncomfortable. Because just like as a collective, as individuals, guess what? Uncomfortability, adversity, that equals growth. We are growing as a collective because we're forced to have these uncomfortable conversations. Okay, let's talk about racism. Let's talk about our differences. Let's talk about what emotions we have going on, right? I'd like to bring an example of my girlfriend, Courtney. One of her best friends, a black woman who she went to college with, she knows very well for years and years and years, they hadn't talked in months. And she reached out to Courtney and said, hey, dude, I'm really upset. You haven't reached out to me, checked in on me. Am I okay? And it caused kind of this rift, and Courtney kind of felt attacked, like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know I'm supposed to. And they really got to hash some things out, and now their friendship is better. There's so many underlying things beyond just the elementary stuff. It's elementary, bro. We know you're not supposed to be racist. You're not supposed to judge someone on the color of their skin. That is elementary. That is something that's taught. Most people don't give a fuck. Nobody cares what race that's what most people, nobody cares. Like you said, everyone camping. I love you if you're Mexican, black, Chinese, whatever.
Right.
Most people don't care about that shit. Most people are loving people. But because the media puts all of this bullshit out, we start to think like, oh, well, should I be scared? Yes, there's stereotypes, right, for different races and cultures. I always share this example. I caught myself in college. I used to work for the Small Business Development Center, and I was a hiring manager for a department of it. And I caught myself resumes, people with funky last names like mine, Abusalam. I was kind of like, I don't know, that they don't sound as American, stereotype, just thinking that they might not know English as well or something like that.
Sure.
Well, we have these stereotypes and assumptions, but most people in my 29 years of life are loving people that don't make these racist actions and racist thoughts, So I think that this is a good thing, that we're going to start to stand up, ask more questions, seek more truth. I mean, dude, I don't even know what to believe. I've seen so much shit on, the Epstein, and all of this is just a political battle. Now we have Hillary Clinton, Obamagate, Pizzagate. All of our politicians are pedophiles. Yeah. All this shit going on, to where it's like, is really everything that we're seeing in the news just kind of a battle to make each other look worse on the executive political level? I don't know. We're trying to seek truth. We're having these conversations. Yeah. There's a lot of what some people would call legitimate sources arguing opposite sides of the world government. I was showing you the Georgia Guidestones, right? The New World Order. Yeah. There's all this crazy shit out there. And I think the most important thing is, again, going back to love. Love always wins. Love is undefeated. We're the ones who are uniting, loving each other, and seeking truth together. One more thing I want to say about that is I feel very grateful to have been an avid seeker of truth since I was 5 years old. I come from a Catholic and Muslim family. Yeah. My father told me, hey, your abuelita, your abuelito, your mom are all going to hell, right? And at a very young age, I was like, no way God would do that, right? We have over 1 billion Muslims in the world. We have over 1 billion Christians in the world, Jewish people in the world, all looking at these texts, right? We're all seeking truth. And it's a perpetual thing. You never read the Bible once. Oh, I got it. I understand all truth, right? We're continuously reading. We're having conversations about it. And not just the Bible. All sacred texts. And right now, too, same thing. We have to seek truth in a united and loving way without bashing each other. And I think that, and I think that's where we're at. We're given another opportunity here with coronavirus, with the death of George Floyd, with the death of all of these Black Americans. Right now, okay, this is an issue. There's so many other issues, but I think right now, Black community, Black lives are leading this movement. They're given an opportunity to lead this movement because what has shined, right? And whether it's Black people or not, this is the issue that we've been given to ignite a passion within us, right? Like you said, you see that murder of George Floyd, no matter what race you are, you get angry. Yeah. You're like, dude, get Chauvin, the officer, get the fuck off of him. Your knees on, it ignites that anger. And right now, like I said, none of our passion is going towards sports or towards concerts or towards shit, not even work. We're all quarantined. We have all this passion. So you show us that. And instead of separate us, like maybe some of these outlets want to do, we're uniting. And I think that's a beautiful thing. With that, there's going to be some bullshit. There's going to be some looting. There's going to be some misdirected passion that wants to defund all the police departments. Like, that's probably a fucking horrible idea. But we're at least coming together and having these conversations, which I think and I hope and I believe will be a good thing in the long run.
I hope so. I hope that we can stay focused long enough to actually see a real solution. And that's my fear. We as Americans don't stay focused on anything long enough to fix it, right? Because George Floyd, his death sparked something. But we're already starting to move away from that to now attacking the very police officers, right? I mean, I don't know how you've seen, but we've had 13 African-American police officers killed in the last week
I
around the
have
country.
not seen that.
I would argue their Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Just because they had a different profession, are they less? No. But that's what my point is. We're starting to split hairs with each other again. And that is where people want us, because a couple things. One, they stay in power, and two, no change happens. So to make change, we got to be willing to sit down, compromise, and realize that we all have our own views, our own truths of the situation. And your truth and my truth may not be exactly the same, but somewhere in the middle is probably the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if we come together as communities to have civil dialogues and create and foster real change, this could be a fantastic thing. But on the flip side, if we continue to divide and turn people into enemies, and this person's now a bad guy and that person's a bad guy, it leads to chaos. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's just reality. Because if we can't agree to disagree, if we can't agree to compromise, if we can't agree to create real change, what the hell are we doing? We're just going to agree to stay enemies? We're just going to agree to be different?
Yeah. Well, it's tough because that is what we're taught, right? Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have a political structure that's based on unity and coming together. And who knows, maybe this end of America could be the end of the way that we have our political structure.
Does anybody think it's working?
Dude, it's gotten so bad to the point,
think about, they literally, the highest level of elected officials can't agree on anything. You have the president gives his State of the Union address. You have the highest level Democrat literally rips it up in front of the cameras to show her disgust. That's how you're going to behave. And when we as humans, and I don't care which one of them you like, or if you hate them both, you don't like either of them. When you see that juvenile behavior on the highest level, that sets the tone for the nation. Right? I know people, right? Let's talk politics for a second. African Americans, and remember, I grew up in Prince George's County, Washington, D.C. I was a minority from 5th grade on. Traditionally vote Democrat. African Americans will heavily vote Democrat. Yet I would argue, why? The Democrats always promise change. They've always promised social reform. They promise. In my lifetime, the issues are still the same. You have other families that vote always Republican. Yet has it gotten any better for them? And if not, let's quit spending so much time on these guys and focus on our neighbors.
Yeah, on us.
Right? Like our small businesses, our neighbors, because that's where we affect change. But I think at times you're convinced you're powerless unless you get the right person from your right party in Washington, D.C. There's not much you can do, and that's complete bullshit. Because none of them care about us, period. Obama, George Bush, Reagan, Carter, go all the way back. They don't care about Ali in Fort Collins, Colorado, trying to make his small business boom. But you know who does? The people around you. Mm-hmm. And we got to shift our focus back. Take our power back, man. Quit living. It's a victim mentality.
Right.
Right. We live as victims. I don't have control over this, so I can't do that. Bullshit. You have control. You have control over where you put your energy every day. Mm-hmm. You have control over what you do with your time.
Yeah. And we have to take control and demand that control. I love how you use the word juvenile, because I think that is what's going on at the highest level of our politics, of our nation, and it's contradicting.
It's fucking embarrassing.
It's juvenile and it's contradicting, because what do you get taught as a preschooler, as a kindergarten? Right? Compromise, share, work together.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing the leaders of our nation, of our world, not a single thing that they're like, oh, have you ever seen Obama or Biden compliment Trump or vice versa? No, it's unheard of. They don't get along, share, or work together for anything, for the most important job in the nation, to run our entire nation, and they can't work together at all in the free world. and they can't get together. So that's when as people of our nation, we need to unite and take action, take some things into our own hands, like our local communities, right? I love beautiful Fort Collins. I got to go to the Black Lives Matter March, meet the chief of police. He got to speak. I got to share some words and got to speak to the youth there. And what we see in the news was nothing compared to what happened here. Beautiful, peaceful protest, probably 90% white people. Yeah, I know it's Fort Collins, but still, so many people out there protesting for unity, for love, and it was a beautiful thing. And knowing you, we've talked about, okay, what can we actually do if we want to make a difference? We have that control. We can petition. We can meet with these government officials. We can meet with people and do something instead of, go vote. Okay, yeah, that's important.
What are you going to vote for? The same group of people that were there before? No,
it's the same thing.
You get more involved. Demand your change. And it's like I talked at the gym the other night. We had a good class running completely against COVID requirements because that shit doesn't work for small business anymore, and we're done with it. And guess what? There was men, women, people of all colors, races, different religions on the mats training hard, and nobody cared.
No one cares.
Nobody cared because they were there to make themselves better. They were there to help you get better. Mm-hmm. So if we can do it in a mixed martial arts gym, if we can do it camping, can we do it in our neighborhoods? Can we do it at the grocery store? I don't think we're as dumb or as incapable as people want us to believe. So if we just wake up tomorrow and we go, you know what? I'm going to be kind. Just be kind. Say hello to a stranger. Help somebody that may need a hand. Just do that. Let's start small. If we are kind to the people we encounter every day, and then you in turn are kind, we can defeat the stupidity that's being force-fed to us. There's plenty of money for small businesses. There's plenty of success for all humans. We don't need to buy into fear and hysteria. So let's just decide that we're going to wake up and we're going to be kind. That's it.
Amen. And it feels better. Sometimes we're a little nervous because we've been so conditioned to be separated, right? It may be weird to say good morning or we're all keyboard warriors, right? But it feels better when you make that initiative. And I say this all the time, but I'll say it again. There's a reason why the absolute worst punishment on a human being is solitary confinement, because we're made to interact. We're made to love each other. We're made to communicate. That's why this quarantine is so hard for us. We're meant to be social. So we do a little thing. I've been starting to do this new thing while I'm running, just little smile and a peace sign, right? And people love it. I can see them light up because most of the time you just don't even acknowledge each other. Just a simple acknowledgement changes the course of the person that you acknowledge to have a more positive day. Be out there, be doing that. It compounds the conversation with the coffee person, with the grocery clerk, with every person that you walk by, a little smile. And I'll admit it, I don't do it all the time, but the majority of the time I do. I acknowledge good morning, smile, little wave, little peace sign, whatever it is. Let's start coming together even more than ever. This is a time that we're demanding it and showing some love. Love is the only thing that is above all.
I love it, man. And let's as an on-purpose community, one, we're thankful for you. We love you, and we're so appreciative you give us this time every week. But let's stand up for ourselves. So here's something that will help. Unless you are sick or you really choose to wear a mask, get rid of the mask. Because I can't see you smile at me. Mm-hmm. I can't see you, genuinely see you, right? Because it's amazing when you're wearing a mask, you only see from the tip of the nose to the eyes how little of a human you look like to me. Mm-hmm. Your facial expressions, your individuality, your mannerisms. Get rid of the goddamn mask. Mm-hmm. Because that fosters this whole dehumanization of things. So unless you're sick or you really want to, man, but otherwise let's get rid of that and let's be kind to each other. Let's go out and smile, say hello to one another and help somebody.
Back to preschool, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, let's just do the shit we've been taught since we were little.
Straight up.
And let's start ignoring all the hate that bombards you all day, because that's all this shit is.
Yeah.
Hate the cops, hate black people, hate this group, hate that group, hate Republicans, hate Democrats, right? Oh, hate China, hate Wuhan, hate the corona. Nope. Like, fuck it.
Stop hating. Just love.
And it seems
Start
so
loving.
simple, right? It seems so simple.
Deceptively simple. That's the thing. Is usually the best things in the world are so simple, you don't believe it can be true.
You overlook it.
Yeah. But that's the answer, man. Love. It always has
Yeah.
been.
So I do hope this is the end of the America that came before this. And I hope it's the end of us just accepting all these things as true, and as society walking around trying to see why we're so different instead of what we have in common, and realizing that when we come together, we have power.
Amen. Amen. Well, let's get some purposeful practice in for our team.
Go ahead, brother.
So first piece of purposeful practice, guys, is to ask yourself and reflect on what are you doing to prepare yourself and your family for what is being brought to us. All of these issues, Corona, the death of George Floyd, the protests. How are you preparing? What actions are you taking?
I think that's important. Are you having conversations? Are you modeling open behavior? Because like in my house, I have a 25-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, myself and my wife, different ages, different backgrounds. We see things differently. But are we okay with that? Are we okay? Can we agree to disagree and have open conversation at our dinner table? Start there. And once you can do that, now you can start to talk to your neighbor. And you can start to ask other people questions. But if you can't do it at home, it's going to be hard to do it anywhere else.
Yeah.
So focus on that.
Definitely got to do it at home. Part 2, what changes have you made in your life as a result of these situations? Part 3, has this incident changed your perspective on the American dream? And most importantly, email your practice to us at onpurpose.official@gmail.com, because that really puts your perspective out into the world with us, and we'll give you feedback and have that conversation with you on purpose.
Yeah, and then, man, again, we are so humbled by everything we have here, and those of you on Patreon, we're so thankful for your support there. If you're not on Patreon yet, consider going over there to be more involved in the community, get some access to behind-the-scenes stuff, and to really help us continue this purposeful movement, because I hope we can all agree that purpose is needed more now than probably ever.
Amen.
As we emerge from all these unknowns, there's chances for people to step up and lead their communities, and that can be us.
Let's do it.
All right, team, as we wrap up another episode of the On Purpose podcast, we are thankful for having you all on our journey. We want to announce new ways to include you and let you go deeper into our community. First off, we got the onpurposepodcast.com website where you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter, get inside tips, and see what's coming up in the upcoming months. As well as our new launch is our Patreon account. We have 5 tiers where you can decide at what level you want to contribute to the podcast and the community, help support us, continue to push us forward and grow. And it's as little as 50 cents an episode, or $2 a month, all the way up to $50 a month, depending on where you want to be. Perks of this are sneak peek episodes. You get the episodes quicker. You get to contribute on episodes. You get monthly Q&As with Ali and I and special guests. And you get to be a building block for our community as we continue to grow worldwide. With the release of Shelly Davies' episode, we are now international. And we're excited for where the future leads us. So please fit in with us wherever you are comfortable. And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We'll see you next week.